Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Gruber Wired. I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and it's nice to be back again this week.
Back in the saddle.
There we go.
We appreciated our guest last week. That was
a lot of fun.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, Ty's a great guy.
Yep.
He's done a lot of work for us, actually, and just a great overall personality. I mean, businessman, everything. Good customer service. Just a great guy.
Solid.
Yeah.
Did you see in Jamie's office the cable manager that got run over?
I did. Pretty amazing, though.
And
because
the little guys didn't pop off?
No, the rings didn't pop off. And, the other part of that is one of the cable managers, what happened was a forklift ran over it.
Yeah.
And so it bent it, right? And bent the ring on it. But it didn't tear it apart.
Right.
And the powder coating was still all intact, not a scratch.
Yeah.
So a testament to the quality of work coming out of both, from Ty and the manufacturing there and the powder coating.
Yeah.
In fact, to be quite honest with you, not next week, but the week after, right?
Yep.
I believe it is. We're going to have our powder coater come on the show with us and talk about powder coating. So get some insight to that.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, and we're celebrating because we hit a goal.
Yes,
already.
we did.
I mean, we got
You're gonna go there, aren't you?
2 days left, and we hit our goal.
We did.
I'm so happy about it. I could do a dance.
You set
and in
that
fact,
one apart,
you did a dance, didn't you?
I did.
Why don't we take a look?
We're going to show this, aren't we?
Yeah, you know how it goes.
No.
There it is.
No. Oh, you did not. You guys. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Good job there, John. John is enthusiastic.
Yeah, you got to be excited a little bit some days,
right?
A little bit.
Yeah,
hey, we hit a goal, and it's a big goal for us.
Yeah, and it's a great team, and it takes something special to continue. It's 8 months in a row now.
8 months in a row that we've been hitting our goals. So, congratulations to everyone. Appreciate it.
It's
Don Johnson, I just threw up in my mouth. I think most people did after watching that one.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
Hey, have fun with it. That's all I can say.
The internet lives forever.
Could be worse, right?
It could be worse. Yeah.
At least it's not out there on Facebook running around.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, I didn't put it out there.
Yeah, you didn't put it out there.
I did not.
That doesn't mean others won't. So
I think that, when you post pictures of people in tutus, in pink tutus, you can't blame them for getting back.
No, one of these days we'll have to have a show where we do nothing but show some of that activity and the fun we have.
Oh, I don't know if the crowd can handle that. I think that's
we've been doing not a lot of work, but having some fun playing around with AI, right?
Well, yeah,
and learning how to generate photos and pictures, and so we kind of getting a little tit tat back and forth. With some photo fun and activities.
And all AIs are not created equal, especially for creating graphics. I mean, it's some of it. You wonder what it's thinking, and then other stuff just comes out flawless. So I have no idea.
It's coming around, though.
Yeah, it is. So today we're going to be talking about bioprinting, 3D bioprinting. And, there was an article a news story last week that piqued my interest because they were talking about, I don't remember whether they said they 3D printed a liver or a kidney, but they had done that. And basically, it's not for implant right now, but those days are coming. I mean, where, you go into an operating room and they'll have 3D printed whatever needs to go in you, and there you go. And they'll be using your, stem cells that are yours to print out stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is coming around, and we all know that one of the big issues that we have nowadays is, it's a lengthy line when you need to get, a
organ
transplant.
Donation, yeah.
So it's a lengthy line to get into that, but then you have the hurdles once you get into it, and the biggest hurdle is the rejection of the implant itself.
Right.
Because the biomarkers don't always match.
Yep.
And so that's what they're working towards, is being able to get there and take care of that.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
How you doing, question?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment, because you guys know that I was in a motorcycle accident and that they had to graft one of my third-degree burns that I had gotten from my muffler. So they took skin from my body and put it back on my body. So I wasn't like, there are times where your body will reject even your own skin. I was fortunate enough where mine wasn't, but because of my accident, I am now kind of in the burn community, and I'll go to different retreats and stuff like that. And while I was at a retreat, I knew somebody who had to have special printed graft so then they could survive their burns.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Which
First-hand knowledge. That's cool.
Yeah, so I find that really interesting, and the fact that, you know, even just like 3D printing skin to help people survive their burns is fascinating, and now they're moving on to organs, which is crazy.
Well, the skin is your biggest organ in your body.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, like I said, the cool thing is they can take your own personal biomarkers to help with that regenerative process. And that's a really big step from where we have previously been.
Right. I don't know if you're ready to play video number 1, but that one goes right into what you're saying.
Yeah, this goes right in with the topic there. Hey, my
your
mom
mom's,
says,
yeah.
great, John. Yeah, that dance is for you, Mom.
Is this one video number 1?
Yes, there we
Print
go.
skin engineering, yep. That's not real. Look, John, there's hope. They're talking about hair follicle growth.
Yeah, I could use some of that.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, lots of good research going on, and that was actually pretty good, instrumental. Just a basic breakdown of where they're at, where they've come, where they're going, and what they're looking to get into. Right. I think a lot of the process is just like what Cass went through and spoke of in regenerating the skin. That's probably one of the first of all, it's the largest organ we have on our body, is our skin, right? And probably one of the most immediate things that needs attention.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's great. I think that and it's probably easy because it doesn't. I mean, it has to do things obviously, but it doesn't have as many complexities as like a heart or a liver or a kidney do. So
yeah, exactly. And so, you know, it's one of those things. If you want to show picture number 1 and then show picture number 2, picture number 1 I think is showing just a printed heart, like you were just speaking of. Now, if you go to picture number 2, which shows another 3D printing idea of a heart here, actually, it might be a lung that I'm looking at. But what you can notice here is the number 1 issue of I've read on this topic is getting the cardiovascular system working with these organs.
Right. Yeah. The biogel or whatever they call it is so they've gotten to a point where there's some elasticity to it, but it's not as elastic as arteries are yet. So that's the problem that they're running into. But one of the cool applications that I was, reading about that they're currently using this stuff for is for drug testing.
Really? Okay.
Because then, it's not, it's a kind of a real organ, but not. But they can test the effects of drugs on live human cells.
So that's without having to go through, lab rats and so forth. They can actually, 3D print the organ and then use the new medication, to work in conjunction with to get
one
results.
Of the things that is driving a lot of this is that kind of thing. And, I was surprised to learn that this stuff goes back as far as like 2000 and where they took the concept of inkjet printing and extrapolated that into, using biomaterial,
live tissue, right?
Yeah, right, or cells or whatever, and they. Let's see, in 2002, University of Missouri printed the first rudimentary tissue structures using bio ink.
Bio ink. I wouldn't think of that.
No. I think this is before, like 3D printing was a thing, so they called it what they called it back then because that's all that they had. And now with the application of 3D printing, they've kind of made that leap into being able to create 3D structures with them. Rather than just kind of looking at it like layering. Now, as we know, 3D printing, you can make anything with it.
Yeah,
pretty much as long as you have the designs. My son does it all the time. Makes all kind of parts for his camera, parts for shelving. He makes whatever he needs.
Yeah. There's a ton of applications for 3D printing. We know that, right? So this is a new move on the application process side of that thing. And just quite honestly, what they're doing is just switching up the use of the raw materials used to create this.
Right. And in 2006, was one of the first companies was founded that was focused solely on bioprinting.
Huh.
So, we're talking about 19 years ago already.
Gosh.
Doesn't even seem possible. In 2008, the first 3D bioprinter prototype was made using a modified HP printer.
Really?
Yeah.
Just took an HP printer, modified it a little bit.
Used all the parts in there.
Sure.
And just,
It makes sense because we didn't have the printers before then, right?
Right. So, the ideas and where this is going, I mean, it's fascinating. It really is, because nothing affects us more than dealing with situations where we have internal issues, and how do you solve it?
I mean, it really comes down to health, right? And there becomes that ethical question that's always amongst these types of things, whether to or not to. Is it good? Is this practice good? That practice good? And the big thing is, and people need to realize too, you can't live forever. This is going to be meant for those scenarios that somebody seriously needs a quality of life issue to take and get the replacement done.
Reminds me of Star Trek Voyage Home when Dr. McCoy gives the pill to the lady to grow a new organ, to grow a new kidney.
That in forever, but
hey, remember that?
Hey, they saved the whales though. And today our whale population, humpback whale population, is amazing in comparison to what it was back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
So hey, it's a Star Trek reference there.
Exactly.
But there's that ethical concern, and we all know somebody who needs something, a replacement of some sort. In fact, we just have a coworker who is still out recovering from a knee replacement.
Yeah.
So I could see in the future where this could actually help evolve that process as well.
Right. Yeah. The same company that started in 2006, in 2013, bioprinted the first human liver tissue for drug testing.
Wow. Okay.
That's 12 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. 12 years.
Well, you got to figure that it all led up to the news report that I saw last week about the liver or kidney, whatever it was.
Well, I'm curious what the next step is when they take and they refine these processes and then they implement AI into them.
Yeah.
Wow. What are we going to be able to transition to? What are we going to be able to see as far as medicine goes?
Right.
And the practice of this type of medicine.
Right. And we have graphic number 6, if you could bring that up. This is kind of an infographic showing where things have gone over this time frame from 2000, so for the last 25 years.
Yeah, so starting in 2000, you have the first concepts of inkjet-based bioprinting, which you were speaking of.
Right.
2006 to 200.
It's probably,
not sure what
probably 2015.
The printing of early skin and vascular tissue.
Yeah.
And then bump up there 2016, the process of vascularized tissue printing. And then get to where we're at today, we have many organs used for drug testing. So there we go. pharmaceutical companies, I'm sure, are using this to test new types of, drugs and medications to find out what effects they're going to have on these organs.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, that's in 25 years. So I asked AI, where is this going to go in the next 5, 10, and 20 years?
Yeah.
And the next infographic, number 7, is kind of what we came up with. You want to bring that up?
So, Cass, while you're pulling that up really quick, how has that skin graft for you worked? How's it healed? What can you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah. So what they do for the graft itself is that they take a certain amount of skin from a different part of your body. Mine just so happened to be on my leg. And then they take that skin and then they lay it over your burn. Mine just so happened to be a 3rd-degree burn. They'll do 2nd, 3rd, and 4th-degree burns. I've actually heard of a 5th-degree burn, which is even worse.
Wow.
Yeah.
But mine was 3rd. And then they, mine had stitches and staples to it. And then I was also hooked up to a machine that helps circulate the skin and help circulate the blood in the skin, so then your body is more susceptible to accepting it. And I was hooked up to that for about 4 days, I think.
Okay.
And then the stitches were taken off, I think 4 days in as well, and so were the staples.
What about care? What about the care during the process and thereafter? Is it certain type of soaps you use? Do you clean it out? What was that like?
Yeah, so the nurses were amazing, and they just use warm water and gentle soap.
Huh? Okay.
That's it. That's all. And they would have to clean my donor site as well. Same thing, warm water, gentle soap, and then they used like really soft, gentle washcloths, even though like my skin was like freaking out because it felt rough, and I'm using air quotes. It's not, it's just the skin is very sensitive. And then after that, they would wrap it up for a whole day. So I would clean it once a day, and then there was a time where I didn't have to clean it once a day anymore. But part of the whole process is blistering. So I'm wondering if the 3D print skin would go through the blistering process as well.
Oh, good question. Yeah.
So that would be something fun to learn about, like in the future, kind of see if that changes anything.
That's a good question. Does the 3D printing go through the same process as a natural organ?
Right.
Especially during the process of putting it in and, and connecting everything together.
Right.
That is a question. I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Good question. Yeah.
And
Pete says he missed the John Jig. He got stuck on the phone.
All right. We can show it again. One more time for Pete.
But okay, let me pull it up.
We're
real
gonna
quick.
show you the John Jig here, Pete.
John's happy dance.
Oh boy, I'm not gonna live this one down, am I?
No.
The celebration
We're
dance.
gonna be making music videos of this. Rump Shaker, Baby Got Back.
No.
Happy dance.
Oh, yeah, there will be music
It's a happy
video.
dance.
Shake your tail feathers,
Somebody says, wish it was AI. So do I.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the future you
No,
were
that's
speaking of.
live in color there. Sorry to say. All right, so moving ahead to the future of bioprinting then. So, I asked AI what it thought.
Sure.
And I'm sure it went out and grabbed articles and, people projecting out how this would play out. Some of it's a little more far-fetched, but because in our list here it says, bioprinting, humans. I forget where it is. I don't see it now. Anyway, so 5 years out, then, lab-grown tissues for grafts. So, perfecting that, personalized tissue models. So, I guess not everybody's biology is the same.
No, we're not.
Right? So, I'm sure they can develop more tailored stuff. And I'm wondering if they can even infuse it with, antibiotics or some type of drug that will, promote the healing process and promote acceptance by the body. And then they're going to begin clinical trials on complex tissues. Those would be the tissues that make up organs.
Sure.
Right? Then in 10 years, they're talking about functional organs in transplant. So partial organ transplants, patient-specific scaffolds, which is, I imagine, stuff that's built around an individual and what their
Sure. I mean, they're going to have to look at those biomarkers
physiology
in that person and be able to represent him. Then you have organ farms. I love that. Organ farms for hospitals. I never thought about that.
Well, yeah, they say organ scaffolds will be printed and populated with the patient's own cells, reducing the risk of rejection.
Yeah.
And then, organ farms, not Oregon, bioprinting facilities co-located with hospitals. I imagine with Mayo here, that'll be something.
I'm sure they're already in works on a lot of this.
Right.
I think they're probably further advanced than what we think they are.
Right. And I think a really important one is obviously like arteries and things like that, because I know my dad had his heart attack and they had to harvest an artery out of his leg to use in his reconstruction. Instead of just print one out exactly the shape and size that it needs to be and just put it in.
Well, as of right now, my mother-in-law had a cal valve to put into her heart to replace one of her valves that went bad. So we're already using from other species, that are compatible with us. So being able to take our own biomarkers and create something genetically engineered for me, myself, and I imagine is a huge advancement.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just fascinating what, where the future goes. We're getting old at the right time.
Maybe not. We're still 20 years off before I can get my new brain implanted,
You have a brain?
It's there somewhere. Well, I'm going to need one.
Yeah, it wouldn't take that big of a printer.
Oh, wow.
Today's Get John Day, I guess. Huh?
Guess so. Wow. So 20 years from now, they say full organ replacement in bioprinted humans. Not sure if we can get a full-on bioprinted human, but the organ replacements, I do see that being available for the majority of what we might have a need for.
Right.
They're not going to have them all, but there'll be a need for that.
Sure. And it just makes sense. And this is a really great practical application of like 3D printing and where science can help with quality of life. This type of thing wouldn't concern me. The jabs, they concern me because you don't know what they are, but this stuff doesn't concern me at all. I think it's, good stuff. And I think there's a really great direction for science to go that doesn't require tragic events to happen to somebody else for you to get what you need.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cass, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just thinking about the people who were not born with like limbs or like fingers. Would they be able to print them like an arm or a hand?
Video 3.
There's a video number 2, right?
Yeah.
Show video number 2 real quick. This is a small, short video. This happens in a case where you're saying, a lot of infants are born with deformed ears.
1,500 infants a year in the United States.
Correct.
Yep. And so this is a really cool video right here.
All right, it's this 3D printed ear one, correct?
That's the one.
All right.
All right.
Going all Matthew McConaughey on us, are you? But no, there'll be an application. I think there's a few of us humans that could use some new brains, right? So 20 years from now, we can fix that problem.
You know, when we're talking about hearing, we're talking about eyesight. You know, and I know that hasn't come up with this, but you know, I know that's its own area of research. But the idea of being able to reproduce the human eyeball, and all of the optics that go along with that, I think is pretty amazing. Okay, we're ready for that. It's CBS, so you know it's true.
Genital deformity where one or both outer ears is absent or underdeveloped. That affects about 1,500 babies born in the United States each year.
So yeah, there you have it. News story there showing where they were able to 3D print an ear and then do the skin graft with the ear.
Right.
And there's, like you said, a tremendous amount of infants born every year that have this deformity.
Right. And I mean, such a simple thing, but such a helpful thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as the technology evolves, it's going to go deeper into the body, but you know, all the external stuff right now and what it's able to do.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to show this last video. It's a few minutes long, but it's a good video.
Bioengineers clear major hurdle. Yep.
But do you want to show that one?
Yeah.
Go to video number 3. So we got another video here, goes a little more in depth. I like showing these videos along with our commentary because
this is Mystery Science Theater,
right?
We just need to get blacked out while these are going on.
So yeah, so this is where some bioengineers have made a major hurdle, as it says, on the path of 3D printing replacement organs.
There we go. Boom, 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 boom.
Dum, dum. Dum, dum.
In this research, we're asking, what is the structure of human tissue, and how does that structure underlie its function?
Here what we're trying to do is figure out how to build living tissues made of soft gels and living cells.
In the lung, we have the airway and its surrounding bloodstream.
300
What we are seeing here is that the distension of the airway is actually helping to boost the mixing of the blood in the vascular architecture that's flowing around the airway. This is something that may happen inside of the human lung, and it's something that we are exploring more to inform new designs for living tissue.
One of the challenges in our field is making large tissue blocks that have viable and functional cells. And we can make these tissue blocks pretty easily, but the challenge is actually maintaining the viability and functionality of cells inside them. What we're really excited about is making scalable tissues that could one day be implanted into humans.
One of the biggest challenges in making living tissue is figuring out how to get nutrients and oxygen into the tissue and how to get waste products out.
Being able
The way
to
that our
print
body
something
does
that
this
small
is with vascular
is
networks.
Incredible,
But in
especially,
fact,
like,
it's been
since we're
very
talking about
difficult
it
to
as
get blood
a
vessel
medical
architectures
standpoint,
into soft materials in which cells can live. This has been just a big challenge in the field for the past several decades. Now, our lab has been adapting 3D printing technologies for growing soft tissues.
This project was
be able to
really facilitated and enabled by open source projects like RepRap, Ultimachine, and Prusa. And we're really excited about the ability to also contribute back to the open source community. We believe that science should be open.
When you think about your body, your lungs, your heart, and other tissues are constantly in motion. And so the fact that we're beginning to
determine an issue while the infant is in the womb, right, and be able to correct it there prior to delivery.
Yeah.
We are only at the beginning of our exploration of the architectures found in the human body. We still have so much more to learn.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, what can you say? It just continues to evolve.
We like to expand, everybody's brain here when we do our little podcasts sometimes, and this is definitely one of those issues. I mean, it's been one of the things that's with technology such a fascinating. I mean, I don't know anybody who would be interested in something like this. It's just when you think of the possibilities and what's out there, what's been done already, how long they've been working on it, over 25 years.
Yeah.
And, what do the next 20 years hold?
We don't know. I mean, it's growing so fast and such a steady pace with the way the research is going. And now I think if you implement the use of AI technology into this as well, it's going to expand and grow beyond, belief, actually, from where we're at now.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. You know what I like about doing these types of podcasts when we get into something a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Is the fact this still sits right into that realm of communication.
Yeah.
And why? Because we're always communicating, even our cells, our blood, everything that we work with in life. In an example here, our organs, they communicate to us.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but after you hit that 40 mark, I can tell you my body's telling me the check engine light's coming on, and you just feel it. You get these feelings.
Yeah.
So we talk about communication and talk about the cabling that we do and fiber optics, and not to realize the basic elements of communication start right from within.
Right. I mean, we have so many applications of technology that we've covered over the last 2 years, and we were coming up on 2 years now, I think, or we will be in
shortly.
Not too long.
Yeah.
And everything from expansion of AI, quantum computing, all of the cool stuff, and this is one of those things that's another just very it will touch everybody.
Oh, for sure.
It will touch everybody or somebody in some way, over the next decade, over the next 2 decades. And we're, thrilled to talk about it and explore it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep. And
it's been fun.
Yep, absolutely. So make sure to subscribe, and share this podcast. We appreciate you being here. We're here every Thursday at 3 p.m. Arizona time. Just make sure and check out some of our other company podcasts, Gruber Motors, Power, the AI podcast. So for now, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and thank you.
Have a great week.